Today we're going to be having a discussion with Eric Osiakwan, the managing partner of Chanzo Capital, which manages the King's Fund representing Kenya, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. The discussion is going to be on the role of entrepreneurship, digitization, the digital domain, and direct selling in Africa. How are you doing, Eric?
Oh, pretty good. How about you? Good to see you.
You're a digitization expert, but you're also a venture capitalist, and you're someone who, for the most part, most international organizations seek to your level, or seek to you, or come to you for expertise on venture capital, on entrepreneurship, on understanding the digital realm in Africa. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
First of all, in my previous life, I was an entrepreneur, and I built some of the early technology businesses in Africa, predominantly ISPs, internet service providers, here in Kenya, in Ghana, South Africa, Uganda, Malawi, etc. And when I did that exercise, I essentially created the African ISP Association, which is the industry body that brought the ISPs together. And then I realized that even though we created a very competitive retail ISP industry across the continent, our upstream connectivity was predominantly through satellite, and the whole of Africa at that time had one subsea cable, which was SAT3. And so in 05-06, I got a fellowship to Stanford University, and I decided to focus on studying how to build subsea cables, because I thought, hey, how can the biggest continent in the world have only one subsea cable? All right, so that was the next bottleneck. And so when I went to Stanford, I came up with this model of open access models for infrastructure development, which was essentially taking the concept of open access in academic publishing and applying it to the telecom industry. And that gained a lot of notoriety. I became a consultant to the World Bank, the Soros Foundations, and eventually I was invited by the Kenyan government to help build the first subsea cable in East Africa called the East African Marine Systems, TEAMS.
We see that East Africa has adopted a lot of this sort of digital technologies. Could you tell us or just highlight some of the key digital trends that you see are emerging over the course of, let's say, the past year because of COVID, but even prior to that, that we should end up foreseeing?
On a macro level, we see two elements. We see some dimensions and some determinants. So on the dimension side, I noticed that there are 5 countries that are leading the digital economy, which is Kenya, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. So on the determinant side, we started looking at within these countries, which sectors are really leading the digitization. And we saw things like financial technology, fintech. Right? Fintech has become the leading sector. Mobile money, etc., innovations have happened. The second is e-commerce. Essentially, financial services power the e-commerce revolution that we've seen on the continent. We've seen sectors like EdTech, educational technology, digital health, agricultural technology, AgTech, and to some extent now we're seeing clean tech, right? So on the determinant side, these sectors are really leading the path, but we believe that they're creating the space for other sectors to also come into play. And so the digital economy, we see it in terms of the countries that are leading and the sectors that are leading. And so these are sort of the top macro trends. Now, if you want to zoom into the micro, which is sort of what has happened in recent time with COVID, net, COVID has actually been a positive trend for the digital economy in Africa. Why do I say that? Because in Africa, when COVID hit, most countries shut down. And so everybody was forced to start going online to order groceries, to do Zoom meetings, to work, to entertain. And so you saw that net, the consumption of digital services in Africa became very strong. I mean, in Ghana, the mobile money transactions last year alone were topped about $200 billion, right? Compared to about $50 billion for check banking transactions. And you see that here in Kenya as well, you see that in South Africa, you see that in Nigeria.
Could you perhaps highlight some of the other areas that youth could end up partaking or taking advantage of, especially in this new digital realm?
Today, Africa is about 1.3 billion people. Out of that, 70% are below 25 years, right? So Africa is a very youthful population. So to a very large extent, the digital dividends is in Africa's favor. And that is because the youthful population has taken to digital and has taken to the paradigm shift of manifesting their destiny by building companies, right? And essentially, you see a young person in Africa today who says, I can build the next Facebook, I can build the next Google. I mean, just a decade ago, you will hear that. So there's been a paradigm shift that is pretty powerful, which is the push towards the digital entrepreneurship.